So one of the most recognizable signs of Amish people is their style of clothing. And in particular, when you talk about Amish women, it would be the prayer coverings that they wear. These are sometimes erroneously called bonnets. So the prayer covering is the covering that women wear directly on their hair. Typically they're white, can be black. The bonnet would be kind of what would go over that when the woman is going outside, taking a trip somewhere, especially if the weather is not so suitable. So it kind of keeps the head protected, warmer, I suppose. So those two things are two different items of clothing. So what I'm talking about here is the prayer covering, or the kapp, as the Amish call it. So the Amish base this practice on a number of scriptural passages, especially from the book of 1 Corinthians. So this is another practice where you see that the Amish have a biblical reasoning or basis for it. Now, not all Amish practices are based in the Bible. There's nothing really in the Bible that says people should ride in buggies and not cars. All these cultural things the Amish do, they're not always directly taken from the Bible. In fact, often they aren't. But there are rather other reasons for why they do that. The prayer covering is also seen as promoting modesty. The woman's hair, symbol of her beauty. That's something that Amish feel shouldn't be shown in public. So that's something more for her husband, I suppose. Amish women do not cut their hair. Now, I'm not saying that's 100% the way it goes across the board. There may be cases of Amish women that trim, their hair here and there. Generally, they don't cut their hair, and so they wear it pinned up underneath the prayer covering. So if you've seen an Amish woman with her prayer covering off, and I happen to have seen that on a number of occasions when I stay with Amish friends, that's kind of the end of the day. Woman in the house combs her hair out sometimes, and hair is quite long. It doesn't seem like it when you just look at that little prayer covering on their head, but they have a lot of hair tucked up in there. So, they're not going to sleep in their prayer covering. So this is a very symbolic kind of marker of the Amish, and you'll also see variation in prayer coverings between Amish communities. The Lancaster County prayer covering is very distinctive. It kind of has a heart shape, in contrast with, say, the prayer coverings in Midwestern Amish communities, like in Ohio and Holmes County, among the kind of the mainstream Amish there, or the Amish in northern Indiana, in Elkhart and LaGrange counties, Shipshewana area. Those have more of a sort of a straight, pleated look. I joked with one of my Amish friends in Indiana that they kind of remind me of lampshades a little bit, and she got a kick out of that. So I don't know if that was a great comparison, but that's what that's kind of always struck me as. So those are two major kind of styles. You'll see other variations with the different pleats. There's some with finer pleats. There is a very good exhibit if you happen to be in a Holmes County, Ohio settlement at the Amish and Mennonite Heritage Center. This is the place which houses the famous cyclorama painting of Amish and Mennonite history called Behalt. But in the kind of in the library or the museum part of that center, they have an exhibit showing many of the Amish women's head coverings from different communities. One of my last visits there, they let me take a number of photos of those head coverings, and you can see some of them here from different communities. So, Amish women are going to be able to tell where a certain Amish person is from, often by, or at least have a good idea of what group she would be with by her prayer covering. So, and then you'll also see that other plain people wear prayer coverings as well. For instance, you'll see Mennonite women in a number of churches wear prayer coverings, and they will be different styles than those of the Amish. You can also tell that they're not Amish by their prayer coverings. Oftentimes they're a little smaller, depending on the group. Now, there's some very conservative Mennonites as well, which could also have fairly sizable or heavier, let's say, prayer coverings. So that's a little bit on the prayer covering. Thanks for watching. See you next time.